Hi there. Welcome to From Mild to Wild and everything in between. Today we're going to get into the direct drum assembly. I want to show you the basic drum here. Now, on the back side is the side I'm concerned with because this is of a stock nature. This is a drum that they put into most of your stock vehicles for street application. And the reason I'm bringing it to your attention is this has a 8 Sprag roller on it. The indents right here is where this Sprag goes. This is the Sprag unit I'm referring to. This particular one is 8 Sprag. It mates up to this one here where the notches are, right in here. Now, I don't want you to use this type unless you're going to be in low horsepower application. I'm going to set that one aside. This is the preferred one that I want you to use. And they came through stock from GM with a 16 Sprag roller on them. You'll see how this is perfectly round. It's been machined down to accept the Sprag, where the other one has got the little dog legs machined into it to hold it. Now let me show you this here. This is the Sprag unit that we're going to use on this particular transmission. It has 16 dog legs going around it. The one that I'm using in the transmission that we're going to be putting in the car to test, this is my spare one, it's got 34. They're very easily changed. You could take the 16 out and put a 34 in about 30 seconds. So I want to bring it to your attention that your heavy-duty application, which would be truck or school bus or something of this nature, would have a 16 Sprag roller in it, where the stock automobile's got that 8. Don't use the 8 unless you're going to really stick to a low horsepower engine. Now, let me show you how this Sprag goes on here. What you've got is, I'm going to set it down. You take the Sprag, and it's a one-way Sprag only. This has got to turn to the right. I've slid it down on the housing here. Now, I want to show you the gears. This set of gears here, which is of the stock nature, has got teeth missing in it. Can you see that? I don't want you to use these. Put that aside. You want to make sure that you've got one with teeth 360 degrees around. Now, let me get my position here. To put it back on, you'll see that there's a wear mark on the bottom side. Put it back on the same way you took it off. The only difference is you've got to make sure that this, and they get a little tricky to get on, do it this way. Sometimes you got to cheat a little bit. We're backwards. That's why I wouldn't go on. That's why I was just telling you they're a one-way Sprag and they have to turn clockwise. So what I was doing there, now you see how much easier that went down? Holding it face down, this gear can only go in one direction, and that's clockwise. You see I can't spin it counterclockwise? That's why when I was putting it on I was having trouble, because it's only one way. Now, you've got a retainer we're going to put on right now, because there's nothing fancy. That's the extent of it. Now there's a C-clip that goes in there, and there's quite a few different ones that I've found over a period of years. These 4 are just of a stock nature. They've been in various transmissions that I've had. This particular one here, it's got a bluing on it, so it's been case hardened. See, that would be all right to use. You can use a case hardened one. I've found through the aftermarket people, as soon as I can get it apart here, because this is a problem, they will go in there. This is more of a spiral lock type of C-clip. See that? This one here is the preferable one. You can get these for about $5 to $8 a piece. Now let me show you how it goes on. Right down in here is a little groove, and you just go ahead and spin it right down in. If you were using just a plain C-clip, you could do this with your hand. Now what I always do is I take a screwdriver and just kind of gently tap it to make sure she's seated down in there and give a look. Now also on your drum, they all come through with one hole. See this hole right here? They all have the one hole. Some have two holes, one opposite each other. What I want you to do is take your drum to the machine shop and have two more put in it, top and bottom. So what you're going to end up with is 4 holes drilled into this assembly here, so the oil can get out faster so it doesn't hang up your clutches. I don't want you to attempt to drill this by hand because these are drilled on a 15-degree angle. So take it to your machine shop, and for under a $25 bill, he'll punch these 4 holes in for you. Now I want to get into this piston assembly. This fell out when I was picking it up, but this is the piston assembly. You're going to see it in your forward and direct unit. It's got a rubber lip seal that goes all the way around the outside, and it's got one that goes on the inside here. What you want to do is check these to make sure that they're not nicked. Just run your fingers right around to check them. Now, you may have to have this piston machined, and if you do, it will be off of this surface right here where your clutches rest on. What you're looking for is we're going to put 5 clutches into this drum. Sometimes you're going to find that the drums come through with 4 or 5 clutches. This particular one came through with 5, so it was right from the factory. There was no machining needed to be done on this surface. Where the other transmission, I had to cut off about 30 thousandths in order to give me the proper clearance. I'm looking for 50 thousandths clearance between these steels. What you've got is for street strip application, you're going to run 8 to 10 or even to 12. If you were going to do off-road, you'd want to go to a 14 thousandths clearance because you're generating much more heat, so you need to add additional clearance to it. But if you need to, you can machine this off, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Let me first of all get this down in. What you want to do is take your piston and set it down in there very gently. Take a 10 thousandths, say a 9, 10, or 11 thousandths feeler gauge, and put it right down on the side there where that lip seal goes. Just revolve it around. You see how I'm doing it? You want to get this where you see how it fell down in there? Now if you spin it, you can hear that it's bottomed out, and that's what you're looking for. You want to bottom this out so you can go ahead. Here's your clutches and steels right here. These are the blue plate specials that I told you we're going to be running because I could reduce the pump pressure. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you pre-soak these. Put them in some transmission fluid for a minimum of a half an hour. They're made of glue and paper, so the paper will absorb the transmission fluid. You never want to put these in dry. You're going to come in here and put a steel first. Now these steels also come in different thicknesses. They come in 77 thousandths thick and 92 thousandths thick. So you can also adjust your clearance by using either a thinner or a fatter steel. I'm trying a couple different ones. I'm trying all the 77s and all the 92s. That's why I've done some machine work on them, to see if there is a difference between the thicker and the thinner. Right now I can't tell you. The only thing I want you to look for is that clearance itself. You're going to take your pressure plate. What I've got right here is I've got 2 different feeler gauges. One's a 32 thousandths and one's a 20 thousandths. I'm going to set them down in there. You're going to see that we've taken out the springs. We'll show you how to put them back in. Now you set your pressure plate down in there. Put your big C-clip. Now make sure your C-clip is seated right down in there. I've had them where they were burred up and didn't make a good seal in here, so make sure you check that. Now just take with a screwdriver, and you see how I'm just running that back and forth, checking my clearance. Because I've already done this, I know that there's 52 thousandths here. You may have to adjust by either machining the piston or putting in a thinner steel. You can go either way with this trick right here. Now what I want, I'm going to take it back apart again. Only because I don't want the piston to fall back out. Now, right down in here, I've got to put some springs. See these little cups? You've got to put these springs in. Now you'll see why I left them out, because there's no way you can get a feeler gauge in there to check your clearance with these springs and retainer in place. So I found that it's easier for me just to take the springs and retainers out. I do it anyways to check to make sure the lip seals are not nicked or damaged. It's a very simple check, as I just showed you. Now what you want to do is right opposite each other. I'm going to leave those two springs out. Now you come in, put your retainer on. This is where sometimes I need 3 hands. Let's see how good I am today. Put them opposite each other and just tighten them down a little bit. What you've got to do is you've got to put some pressure and making sure that it goes down square so you don't catch the groove that's there. See what I've got here. No, I've got to go over just the hair. There, see it? I was just caught in the groove just a little bit. So you want to check it. There, I think we're good. Now here's the C-clip that we're going to put in there. You're going to need a pair of C-clip pliers. Catching it this way to expand it. And I want to make sure that I'm not near one of the little catches. Go ahead and check it. You see where the opening is right here? Let me find it. I want it. See the 4 little catches here? You want to make sure that your opening is between them on your C-clip. That's to keep it from sliding out. For doing it backwards, that's not too bad. Normally I can see what I'm doing. Now what you've done, you've put it back together because you already know that you've got the proper clearance. You're getting ready to assemble, and we're going to start over again. There's the steel, there's the fiber, steel, fiber, steel, fiber, and so on, till you get them all down in there. Pressure plate, large C-clip. You can see we use the screwdriver with the little notch in it. See, I'm right down in place to take them out. But to put them in, you've got to notch this little screwdriver so you can catch them and pull them back out. To put them back in, you just do it by hand. Now what you've got is your direct drum assembly is completely assembled and ready to go in your transmission. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about keeping notes on what you just got through doing. This is the spare transmission. This is the direct drum, which we just got through doing. And I knew I forgot something. Down inside of the drum, there's a third lip seal. See down inside the drum itself? We do not put the third lip seal in. We only put the 2 lip seals that are on the piston. For our particular use, we want to leave this lip seal off. I forgot to mention that while we were going through there. Now let me get back to this. What I've done is I've made little notes for myself as to what steels I've used. This is a spare transmission, the direct drum. It's got a 52 thousandths clearance between the clutches. The steels that I ended up using were a 90, 91, 91, 77, 78. I think I told you that they come through standard as a 77 and a 92. When you want to get precise, you take your little 1-inch mics and mic them up. These did not come out 77 and 92, as you can see, but it gives me that 52 thousandths of clearance that I'm looking at. So there's another variation you can have. Now, I've written down over on the side a little footnote where I've drilled the 4 holes in this drum. No center lip seal. It's got the 16 Sprag roller, and I didn't use an old C-clip. I used a new C-clip on it. This is something that you're going to forget. Like me, I've got a few transmissions that I use. I want to know exactly what modification I've done to each transmission for that particular application. Now, instead of getting into the forward drum assembly today, what I want to do is I want to talk to you a little bit about the motor that we put together. You remember that 500 horsepower motor that we finished a few weeks back? I went back in the other day and I've already got it into the car and I've already had it up and running, but I went through and I did my first test. I want to show you, I always use a compression check only as a measuring device. What I've got is, because the camshafts and the different variations, I always do a compression check, and I'm really not looking for a specific number. You'll find that some stock engines will run 150 pounds of pressure. Race engines will run 200, 210, 220. I don't use it there only because your camshaft, because it's got so much overlap, will throw that number off. So I use it on each motor just to give me a guideline. Let me show you. The particular motor that we put together, I really haven't run it since 1995. It's been sitting under the bench. We had another motor in there. But when I first put it together on 530 and 95, I did a compression check. That was brand new. It averaged 145 pounds of compression. On 8.7, a few months later, I went back in after running it around for a while. I did another compression check. It had come up to 166.5 for an average. On 9.27, did another one. Came up to 176. On 11.5, one more, 175. Now, the other day when I did this on 2.6, it was up to 170.9. I had indicated to you that I had not put new rings in, only because I knew that the rings were not broke in yet. We only had 50 street miles on them and 21 runs at the racetrack. So I decided to use those same rings. They were not even broke in yet. But you can see that being brand new again, the compression still comes up to that 171. It was 175 when I put it away. So after I put a few miles on it and it wears the little edges off, that compression will be back up where it's supposed to be. And I think by the time we get to the racetrack, we should probably be up on about 185 or 190 with that particular motor that we showed you how to do.
This is David.
Oh, hi.
This is what David's done. David went to college. Annapolis. David taught himself to play piano, the sax, even the bagpipes. Well, maybe not the bagpipes. David was NBA Rookie of the Year. He's also been to the Olympics twice. David even became a naval officer. David's sure done a lot. But you know one thing David's never done?
Drugs.
David doesn't do drugs. Maybe that's why he's done so much.
Statistics show that the average person over a lifetime has 75,302 dreams, 3.8 surprise parties, 563 pairs of socks, and 8.6 different jobs. Is educated by 39.7 teachers, laughs 1.5 million times, finds $8.15 in the sofa, tries 12 different hairstyles, plays 6.4 sports, and owns 3.5 pets. But the average person only has one life, so why mess it up with drugs? A message of 29.3 seconds from a drug-free Navy and Marine Corps.
Another thing I'd like to bring to your attention is you always see me, I'm kind of a nut when it comes to documentation. I want to keep track of everything that I'm doing or done or going to do. This particular logbook was sent in to me for you guys that are going to the racetrack. I know that there's a few books on the market that you can buy. This one here was done up by Carl Monroe. He gets into, got one here for tech inspection checklists for a day at the racetrack with the times, the quarter mile, and so on. You want to invest, and I don't have the biggest idea what this costs, but you want to invest or do your own like I do into some form of documentation so you can pull back like I just did. I pulled back from 1995 right up to 1997 on the one sheet. You don't have to make it elaborate, but you do want to have some kind of documentation. Another thing that I did is I got kind of anxious. You know, we got a little bit of 40-degree weather, and I went ahead and slid that old motor in there, but I did do the valve job on the other head. I knew you guys were going to catch me. Remember when we did it, I only showed you the one head. Well, I hadn't completed the other head, so I went back in, and I did my valve job on the other side, and needless to say, it runs like a bear. I can't wait for the snow to go away. But another modification that I wanted to talk to you about on the intake manifold, well, there's two. What they've got is they found, the racers have found that the water jacket does not circulate from the back here. The one that I've got in the car, what I did is I ground away, I actually cut this top off and ground this away and drilled a hole right up through here. There's a water jacket behind here. Now you can see I'm in the process, I'm going to do this one next as soon as I get a free moment. There's a water jacket here and here, but the intake manifolds are not drilled for the application. So what I've done, and on the one that I did that's in the car right now, I took just standard 3/8 combination of copper and steel pipe and tapped down in there, put a 45-degree elbow, and I came back up. Now the other intake, you probably don't remember, was a little bit different than this one. This thermostat housing was about that much higher, so I came right around the front here and drilled and tapped just underneath the thermostat on both sides. In other words, I keep them all to the left side. On the right side of the engine, I've got them gas lines. I don't want any more heat than I have to next to the gas line, so I always run them to the left side. Now, this one being a little bit different, I want to show you a couple ways you could do it. You've already drilled and tapped back here, so you're all set. Now you've got to connect the front to the back, and you've got to come up underneath the thermostat housing. Now this particular intake, I'm going to put my water temperature sending unit in this hole. They made it nice for me. They've got two other holes already drilled and tapped. So you can see I'm going to utilize these two holes. The only thing I've done is I've come out of the intake, I put a 90-degree, and I've got a fitting. Now what you may want to look into, you can actually run 5/8 heater hose on this fitting right here if you wanted to just run it back and connect them. Very simple. They've also got the braided line. This here is a braided line of stainless steel. It's virtually indestructible. I've got a couple of these laying around. But this one here will fit perfectly. Once I get my adapter back on the back side, you can see I'm back up and come right back around to here. This other guy, I'll have another line made up, come back up, go right back around, go around and underneath the distributor into this side. So that's a water jacket modification that I'd like you to do if you've got the time. This one I haven't done because instead of drilling it on an angle, I'm going to take it to my local welder's shop, and I'm going to have him build me up some weld here of aluminum, and I'm going to actually drill it straight down through at a 90-degree parallel. The other ones are kind of on a little angle, so I had to use 45-degree bends. It works fine. It really doesn't matter how you hook it up. as long as you take the time to hook it up. Now this particular intake manifold, we've gasket matched it. You see where the black is right here? I take the gasket that I'm going to run on that particular head and I put a little magic marker or ink on it, put the gasket there, and I scribe it. I'll take a ice pick or a needle and just run a line right around where that gasket is, holding it very tight. Then I'll come back in. You remember them cutters that I showed you? Take your little cutters and just grind till you hit that line, maybe about 1 inch through. What you're doing is you're making the intake port match the head port, and you're going to find that there's a lot of variation between intake and heads. I think I indicated to you my heads have got 190 CFMs on the intake side, so it was much larger than this intake manifold was, so I had to go in there and do a little bit of opening up, if you will. You want to make sure that they're as close as you can with the naked eye. You don't want to, you can actually drill in dollies if you wanted to make them perfect, but you're going to see a difference in flow by just making sure that your head matches your gasket matches your intake. This way you get no funny turbulences when you're going down through there. I noticed too, after I had done my valve job this year, I opened up the 15 degree a little bit more, and I did have to go ahead and readjust the carburetor, so we are getting more fuel into the right side of the engine, and that was the one I was concerned with. That's why I did this water modification. I guess before we get into the forward drum, I think we'll call it a day. I've got to go over there and work on the brakes for a little while. Remember I says I'm putting them heavier backing plates in there. That'll make me feel happy, and then I know I won't have any braking problem. But before I go, don't forget my motto: do drags, not drugs, and I'll see you at the racetrack.